And President Trump's national security advisor today defended the president's repeated use of the word hoax to describe the Russian investigation. Watch this.
The hoax is the idea that the Trump campaign was the beneficiary of a concerted effort together with the Russians to affect the 2016 election. As to that, I don't think there's any evidence publicly.
All right, so this as the president once again focused attention on the Trump Tower meeting with a tweet characterizing it as perfectly acceptable while making it clear it was his son's meeting and that he had nothing to do with it. To talk more about this, I am joined by Caroline Polisi, a criminal defense attorney. Sir Michael Singleton and Wendy Osefo are back with us. Great to have everyone here with us. Caroline, let me begin with you because I wanted to focus on Donald Trump's legal issues here. This is how the Washington Post's Elizabeth Holtzman described this. Take a listen.
This is the news tightening very, very, very much around Donald Trump's neck and the neck of his son.
Okay, and I confused that. I'm sorry. That was a former congresswoman that was saying that the noose was tightening very much around Donald Trump's neck and that of his son. So Donald Trump Jr. has not been called in yet for an interview by Robert Mueller. In terms of a defense strategy, are you at all worried about that? Would you at all be concerned if you were Donald Trump's defense team that Donald Trump Jr. has not been called in yet? Would that make him a target of the investigation this late into the game?
Yes, there's an old saying in my line of business: if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So I mean, the implication, of course, being that Robert Mueller is circling and circling and circling, and he's homing in on a smaller and smaller target. And obviously, Don Jr. and the president are those targets. I think it's pretty clear.
Is it safe to say with that tweet that we saw today, the president somewhat threw his son under the bus, saying that it was Donald Trump Jr. who put this meeting into place?
Yes, and what I think is so interesting, typically in white-collar cases, what you see the dad taking the fall for the son in these types of, familial escapades. Yes, because obviously, you can't overstate the importance of this admission, and that's what it is. It's an admission, really, that everything that they had been saying previously about this meeting, that it was about Russian adoptions, which, by the way, was just code language for, Russian sanctions to begin with. It was sort of a toning down of everything about the Magnitsky Act. No, it definitely goes to a campaign finance law violation. There is a specific section of the United States Criminal Code which says it is illegal to accept or solicit. And solicit is really the key word here, because even if nothing came of this meeting, we had that email exchange with Don Jr. saying, I love it. If it's what you're saying, I love it. Well, that's soliciting. That's soliciting something of value from a foreign national. And Trump says, this is just par for the course, this is opposition research. Not really. Not when it's from foreign entities.
Let me play you guys this soundbite from Carl Bernstein, obviously the noted journalist who broke the Watergate story. Take a listen to this.
What we are watching in the Trump presidency is worse than Watergate. It's worse than Watergate, as I say, because the system worked in Watergate. The heroes of Watergate were Republicans who demanded that the president be held accountable.
So, Sir Michael, if there is a report from Bob Mueller and his team before the midterms, and if it is in fact pretty damning, are there any Republicans that you see who have skin in the game? I'm not talking about the Bob Corkers and the Jeff Flakes, who would actually stand up to the president.
No, I mean, Eamon, unless you begin to see a significant decrease in the number of registered Republicans who support Donald Trump, which I believe currently is around 85%, I think a majority of members are going to remain quiet, particularly those who are up for re-election. But I do think this could potentially benefit Democrats because it could increase enthusiasm on their side, which could give them an advantage in the House, and maybe it could even give them an advantage in the Senate. But I think when you think about this timeline in its totality, we know the president dictated this statement. Jay Sekulow came out and said the president did not. We found out that was a lie. We now find out that the president has now admitted that it was about opposition research, which for a long time the White House has maintained it was merely about adoptions. So what I'm wondering now, when did the president find out this meeting was about opposition research? Did he know before or after the fact? And how long did he know if it was after the fact? I think this is not good for the president and is not good for Republicans going into midterms.
Wendy, let me get your reaction to that in terms of any potential Republicans that you see that will be willing to stand up to the president if, in fact, the Mueller report drops before the midterm.
Yeah, right now the Republicans are showing that they care more about having the president's backing than actually sticking up and speaking out for the American people. What we're seeing here is another tile in the string of mosaic that is Trump trying to obstruct and mislead the American people. And right now, what we need to focus on is whether there was corrupt intent, because that's where we start to build that obstruction case. And from every tweet he gets up in the morning and starts going off on his phone, we are seeing that there could be that corrupt intent. So we need to keep an eye on that. And hopefully when the midterms come, the Democrats take back the House and we do what needs to be done here.
All right. Wendy Osefo, Michael Singleton, Caroline Polisi, great to have all of you with us this afternoon.